Hello and welcome back to the Movie Memo Recaps. Today we are going to recap a 2017 movie titled Desolation. Please be advised that there will be spoilers ahead. The story opens with a haunting and emotionally charged scene. A wounded woman stumbles through the dense forest, her cries for help echoing through the trees as she desperately calls for her son. Her distress is palpable, and while the specifics of her situation remain shrouded in mystery, the atmosphere suggests that something profoundly tragic and terrifying has unfolded. This unsettling introduction effectively establishes the film's ominous tone. The narrative then shifts back 3 days, allowing us to explore the events leading up to that harrowing moment. We meet Abby, her teenage son Sam, and her steadfast friend Jen, who embark on what appears to be a simple camping trip into the woods. However, this journey carries a heavier significance. Abby's husband, Mike, has recently passed away. He was an avid hiker who cherished these very mountains, and Abby has chosen this trip to scatter his ashes as a final farewell. It is a poignant act of remembrance, intended to facilitate healing for both her and Sam, who has become increasingly withdrawn since his father's death. Abby hopes that immersing themselves in nature will provide solace and help them navigate their grief. Jen, ever supportive and pragmatic, accompanies them to lend her strength and encouragement, assuring Abby that healing is possible. While they sit by a serene lake, Sam wanders off slightly and notices something unsettling: a solitary man standing across the water, wearing sunglasses and gripping a walking stick. Sam waves, but the man remains silent and unresponsive. It's an eerie encounter. When Abby calls Sam back, he looks again, only to find the man has vanished. Choosing to keep this odd sighting to himself, Sam dismisses it as unimportant. Later, as Abby changes clothes, she hears rustling in the bushes and instinctively turns to investigate, but sees no one. Meanwhile, the audience is privy to the fact that it was Sam hiding behind a tree, innocent and without malice. The group continues their hike, and after several hours, they reach a hilltop where Abby discovers a geocache, a small box containing items left by other hikers. She shares with Sam that Mike used to enjoy this activity, placing a beer bottle inside the box in his honor while gifting Sam a small diary from its contents. This tender exchange fosters a meaningful connection between them. In a lighter moment, Abby and Jen stumble upon a stash of marijuana and decide to keep it secret from Sam. That evening, they scatter Mike's ashes near the lake as dusk settles in. They then set up camp and light a fire. When Sam asks to borrow his mother's phone, Abby declines, leading to his frustration. Jen intervenes with chocolate to soothe him before he retreats to sleep in his tent. As Abby and Jen stay awake to talk over a bottle of wine, they reflect on Mike's life. Overwhelmed with emotion, Abby confesses her feelings of inadequacy in raising Sam alone. Jen reassures her of their solidarity, promising that together they will navigate this difficult journey. Unbeknownst to them, Sam is still awake in his tent, absorbing their heartfelt conversation. Later on, when hunger strikes, the women venture out to retrieve food they had hung from a tree to deter animals, only to discover an unfamiliar backpack nearby, an unsettling sign that their peaceful retreat may hold unforeseen dangers. They're startled by the discovery but choose to brush it off, assuming the backpack is simply something left behind by another hiker. Later that night, Abby steps into the woods to relieve herself, unaware that the same strange man from earlier is lurking in the shadows, silently observing her. He remains hidden from her view, vanishing just as swiftly as he appeared. The following morning, Jen notices that the peculiar backpack has disappeared. She assumes its owner must have quietly returned to retrieve it while they slept. Though Abby feels an unsettling chill at the thought, they decide to press on with their hike. Tension is steadily mounting. While no direct threat has emerged, an undercurrent of unease permeates their surroundings. Just before they leave, Sam accidentally spills drinking water onto the campfire, igniting a small argument with Abby, a moment that reveals the emotional burdens both mother and son are carrying. As they venture deeper into the forest, they pause for a break, and Sam glances around only to spot that same strange man again, standing at a distance, watching them intently. He doesn't attempt to conceal himself, yet he remains motionless, merely observing. Sam turns to his mother, saying, "I saw him yesterday too, near the lake." This revelation sends a ripple of alarm through Abby and Jen. It's no longer just an odd encounter, it feels increasingly like this man is stalking them. They sit in tense silence, hoping he will leave, but he stands firm, intensifying their discomfort with each passing moment. Finally, they gather their belongings and decide to move on. Abby and Jen strive to maintain a facade of normalcy for Sam's sake, yet their internal fear is palpable. As they continue walking, a chilling realization dawns on them: the man is still trailing behind at a distance, no longer making any effort to hide his presence. What began as suspicion now solidifies into certainty: this is no mere coincidence, he is indeed following them. In an attempt to regain control of the situation, Jen stops and calls out to him, demanding to know who he is and what he wants. But he remains silent, simply staring back at them with an unsettling calmness that sends shivers down their spines. Frustrated and frightened, Jen urges Abby and Sam to pick up the pace. The man follows suit. They duck behind some trees in hopes of evading him or at least discerning his next move. However, instead of searching for them, he walks past with an eerie confidence, fully aware of their presence but choosing not to confront them, yet. That night, as they set up camp once more, the atmosphere is thick with fear. Sam opens up to Abby, expressing his reluctance to return to their old home, burdened by memories of his father. This revelation strikes a deep chord within Abby. She recognizes that both she and Sam are grappling with profound grief. Earlier in the day, while trying to remove a small wooden splinter lodged in Jen's hand, Sam had showcased his growing independence by using his Swiss knife to help her. This moment highlights his resourcefulness even amidst their shared fear and sorrow. Later, as Abby and Jen share a quiet moment together, Jen confides her thoughts about wanting to have a child someday. When Abby asks if she's planning to get married, Jen admits she hasn't considered that yet. She simply knows she's ready to embrace motherhood. Touched by this intimate exchange, Abby hugs her tightly and expresses her happiness for her friend. The bond between Abby and Sam runs deep, forged through shared experiences and unspoken understanding. However, that night, their world takes a harrowing turn. Abby is jolted awake by an eerie, distant melody that feels entirely out of place in the stillness of the forest. Stepping outside, she calls for Jen, but her voice echoes back in silence. A sense of dread washes over her as she approaches Jen's tent, only to find it slashed open and empty. Jen is gone. Panic grips her heart as she frantically searches the area, calling out Jen's name, inadvertently waking Sam in the process. Together, they scan their surroundings, desperation mounting with each passing moment, but there is no trace of Jen. Unbeknownst to them, we, the audience, catch a glimpse of a sinister figure lurking in the shadows, a stranger concealed among the trees, clutching disturbing tools and glass bottles. A chilling smirk creeps across his face, revealing his malevolent role in Jen's disappearance. Abby and Sam remain oblivious to his presence. All they know is that someone dangerous is out there, and their friend is missing. As dawn breaks, Abby resolves that they must leave the forest and seek help, but the path back seems daunting after venturing so far in. Sam vehemently protests. He cannot abandon Jen. If Dad were here, he wouldn't leave her behind, he asserts with unwavering conviction. Abby tries to reason with him, reminding him that they can't help Jen unless they first ensure their own safety. Together, they study the map and spot a small cabin not too far from their location. It might be their only chance at safety. Abby proposes they stray from the main trail to make it harder for anyone to follow them. As they set off, ominous clouds gather above them, hinting at an impending storm. Abby senses the urgency of finding shelter soon, while Sam appears utterly drained from the emotional toll of the night. Suddenly, a faint beeping sound pierces the air. It's the unmistakable sound of Jen's watch. They turn to see the stranger standing at a distance, holding Jen's watch like a grotesque trophy. Overcome with anguish, Abby's voice breaks as she demands to know what he did to Jen. He remains silent, cold and unyielding in his gaze. In a fit of rage and desperation, Abby brandishes pepper spray in an attempt to intimidate him, but he stands unmoved. Sam steps in, gently urging her to calm down. After a tense standoff, the man simply turns away and disappears into the woods. Shaken to their core, Abby and Sam find a temporary refuge to hide and regroup. In a moment of vulnerability, Abby shares a heart-wrenching truth with her son. If anything happens to her, he must reach the cabin alone. Fear clouds Sam's eyes, yet he nods resolutely, insisting that he will stand guard that night to protect her. Abby counters gently, reminding him that he is still just a child. This sparks a heated argument. Sam finally erupts, voicing his frustrations. "You always treat me like a kid. You didn't tell me Dad was sick. You didn't ask me if I wanted to come here. You never listened to me." His words cut deep, revealing the pain he has been harboring inside. Recognizing the weight of his feelings, Abby reluctantly agrees to let him keep watch. Yet exhaustion overtakes them both, and they succumb to sleep. But as darkness envelops the forest, the predator makes his move. The man stealthily infiltrates their camp and knocks Abby unconscious before dragging her away into the depths of the woods. He ties her to a tree and performs a horrific act, pulling out one of her teeth, an act too disturbing to witness. When Sam awakens to find his mother gone, panic surges through him. He races through the forest in a frantic search for her until he finally discovers her, tied up, unconscious, and utterly alone. Fortunately, the man is nowhere in sight. With urgency coursing through him, Sam quickly cuts the ropes binding her and desperately tries to rouse her from her unconscious state, but she barely stirs. The man had drugged her, leaving her vulnerable, and the sinister intentions behind his actions remain shrouded in darkness. We later learn that he had inflicted the same fate on Jen, hanging her from a tree and leaving her body mutilated. As Abby lies unconscious, the killer returns, his malevolence palpable. He spots Sam and lunges to capture him, but Sam narrowly escapes, darting into the depths of the forest with the man hot on his heels. Eventually, Abby stirs from her stupor, weak and disoriented. She catches sight of Sam's hoodie nearby, a chilling reminder of his presence. Has the man already reached her son? Meanwhile, Sam spends the night in a desperate game of hide and seek with death, evading the killer at every turn. With dawn breaking, he returns to where he left Abby, only to find her gone. Bruised and bloodied, despair washes over him as he grapples with the fear that he has lost her forever. At this moment, both mother and son are adrift in their own separate horrors, each searching for the other in a twisted landscape of fear. As daylight creeps in, we are drawn back to the film's haunting opening, Abby calling out for Sam, her voice echoing through the trees as she cries for help. Sam clings to the promise he made to Abby, to reach the cabin no matter what. That determination becomes his beacon of hope. Meanwhile, Abby resolves to head toward the cabin as well, praying for a reunion. Upon arriving first, she discovers an old abandoned car nearby but finds its keys missing. Helplessness envelops her as she retreats back into the forest to continue her search for Sam. Elsewhere, the killer remains relentless in his pursuit. In a moment of bravery, Sam confronts him and sprays bear repellent into his eyes. The man howls in agony, granting Sam a fleeting chance to escape. Eventually, fate brings Sam and Abby back together. They embrace tightly, overwhelmed by relief. Though the cabin has not provided the safety they sought, they understand that their only way out lies within themselves. As the threat still looms large, Sam asks Abby what their father would have done in this situation. Her answer resonates deeply: he never ran from anything. In that moment of clarity, both know what must be done. As night descends, they set up a small fire near their camp. Abby feigns sleep while Sam hides close by, their plan fraught with risk but filled with resolve. Soon enough, the killer appears, inching closer, only this time, it's a trap. As he nears, Sam and Abby spring into action together. The man slashes at Abby, inflicting a wound, but they refuse to back down. Abby seizes a rock-filled bag and swings it at the killer's head, creating an opening for him to strike back. With fury and fear coursing through him, Sam plunges his father's Swiss knife into the man repeatedly until Abby intervenes, stopping him before it spirals out of control. Finally, the threat is extinguished, the killer lies dead at their feet. As dawn breaks anew, they sift through the man's belongings and discover the missing car keys. An ember of hope ignites within them. They hurry to the car Abby had seen near the cabin. But even with the keys in hand, it refuses to start. It is as lifeless as everything else in this forsaken place. Defeated and despondent, Sam whispers that he wants to go home. Abby envelops him in a tight embrace. With no other options left before them, they make the decision to walk out of the forest, toward safety and toward healing. Thank you for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.